G'day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Metal video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at how the Metal Cooler free-to-play team does in the Wicked Bloodlines Extreme Super Battle Road stage. So the Metal Cooler free-to-play army, as I like to call them, is kind of, to explain it to you, all 5 type coolers that you get from the 10 billion power event. So that's the, for example, Metal Cooler AGL, Metal Cooler TEQ, Metal Cooler INT, Metal Cooler Physical, etc. I don't know why I always say physical instead of sci-fi. But yeah, so basically it's one of each type. To cut a long story short and to just kind of summarize each of them for you. The AGL one, he raises his defense, he has a bit of evasion depending on Metal Coolers being in the team. The physical one also raises his defense, he provides a large amount of healing off of damage done. The TEQ one increases his attack and also provides sealing and damage reduction attack and defense reduction to the enemy. The INT one is kind of a bit of both. He raises attack and defense on his super attack with orbs, as well as providing some minor healing. And then the strength one increases his attack with orbs and also provides some support. Now the strength cooler, which is Metal Cooler without a typing, is not included in the team. The team is running under a double 200% leads, although I'm trying not to use the physical coolers as a main rotation. The idea is basically to see that if a player managed to pull the physical Metal Cooler, or maybe the LR full power cooler, or maybe had another Wicked Bloodlines lead, how would they function with using a team filled with the Metal Coolers? And yeah, basically, to cut a long story short, they do fine. They do a great job. Their stats are at around this Esbr level. You will have to use items. They're no other item run viable, at least not in their current state. If you provide some pretty good equipment to them, maybe link level them as well, you could possibly elevate them to a no item run kind of level, which is very good. The only thing is like, as units, you would need a little bit of luck, because the one thing they don't have without having the Metal Cooler is a first slot tank. Now, it's not to say that Metal Cooler is the world's best first slot tank, but after a couple of hits, he really builds up his defense quite substantially, and he provides quite a large amount of healing. And that is something you will notice with this team. Overall, we just have a very, very large amount of healing, which is great. The one nice thing about this team is if you do link level them, they gain 5% damage reduction, they gain 10% defense from the fusion link, and 15% from the thirst or conquest link. So you're really looking at a much better defensive unit when you link level them. At max link level, they'll have 25% additional defense and 5% damage reduction, which does play quite a significant factor into how well they do, not to mention the 5% defense from sharing the limit. All of a sudden, they look a lot better defensively. Now, that's not to say that they're bad defensively, but you need to understand the units. For example, you need to understand which ones are going to be good in the second slot, third slot, etc. Me personally, I like to float the strength cooler due to his support-based abilities. I like to keep the physical cooler on rotation where I can, mainly due to his powerful defensive capabilities, alongside his pretty solid health regen off of his damage. The INT cooler I also like to keep on rotation. He's a nice unit that does a little bit of everything, which is always something that's quite helpful. The TEQ cooler I like to float due to his ability to seal and his ability to debuff the enemy. And the AGL cooler I like to leave on the rotation due to the fact that he has pretty decent evasion and also some pretty decent defense. To cut a long story short, I think the cooler team brings a lot of utility, and I think that does get to shine in the Extreme Super Battle Road setting. I think this isn't to say that they can't do other content, or that there's content they aren't able to ever do, but for me, I definitely would say that they get to shine a little bit in this stage. They can show off their utility, their healing, their debuffing, their evasion. These are things you don't always get to show off so much when you stick them in the environment where they kind of, I want to say, have a lot of that taken away. When they can't get the ceiling, can't get the evasion, can't do some of these things, does give them some issues. Now, should you run a full team of free-to-play Metal Coolers? Well, to cut a long story short with you, if you're a new player, yes, a full team of Metal Coolers is pretty much one of the strongest free-to-play teams you can run in the game. Of course, it depends on your lead, and yes, it can always be a little bit rough, but if you manage to pull the physical Metal Cooler, an AGL Metal Cooler, a Strength Cooler, or a Strength Final Form Cooler, then you are able to run this full team. As a new player, it's an incredibly powerful team that has a lot of utility, a lot of versatility, and can probably run you through most of the game. Just pulling these units alone with a capable lead will basically enable you to run this very strong team up to an ESBR level. Now obviously you're not able to clear every ESBR in existence, but things like the Extreme ESBR, with Bloodline's ESBR, Terrifying Conqueror's SBR, movie bosses, there's plenty of stages that this team can probably conquer quite easily, which I think is a very good sign, personally speaking. Obviously, it does require you to have a Wicked Bloodlines lead. Using the free-to-play lead is a big hindrance because of the lower stats. So, having them as a lead is pretty good. Not to mention that the INT Metal Cooler Army is getting an easy A at some point, and that will also help you run this team. So, this team is very, very solid. I honestly would say it's probably one of the best free-to-play teams in the game alongside the Ginyu Force. The Ginyu Force is very, very similar in that, once you get AGL Ginyu, the Ginyu Force team is elevated to a very high level. Now, I don't think the free-to-play Metal Cooler units are distinctly as good as the free-to-play Ginyu Force units, and the reason being is just that the synergy of the Ginyu Force units leads a lot, and Ginyu himself is a unit that excels with that synergy. Jace, for example, foresees super attacks, but that suits him perfectly in his position as a floating unit, allowing him to really benefit from multiple super attacks to raise his defense, and then also obviously cause other issues. Very similarly, Berta as well is a great unit because of his evasion coupled with his stacking capabilities. Gildo is a fantastic debuffing unit, and Raccoon is a fantastic tank. So all of these things really kind of play at hand, whereas the Metal Coolers are a tiny bit less diversified. They're a lot more uniform with slight variations between them. Now, that's not to say that they're not excellent. I think they are distinctly excellent as free-to-play units, and I think they provide so much that a lot of players will be looking for. So the healing you get is outstanding. The damage is very acceptable, and we are about to clear Wicked Bloodlines Extreme Super Battle Red stage with a predominantly free-to-play team without that much of a hiccup, honestly speaking. So I think they are very, very good. But to be honest with you, I think you already knew that. It's just a team that has great synergy. You can definitely link level them. If you are a new player, if you're a player who wants to invest, who wants to really take a look and see what your options are, see, hey, where can I really beef up my teams? Where can I really kind of, get going in Dokkan? I think the Metal Cooler Army is really a great place to start. If this event is up, or if you have a whole bunch of story keys, maybe you missed the event, and you're just looking to really get into Dokkan, this team is a great team. It teaches you about synergy, it teaches you about a lot of mechanics. You've got units that debuff, units that evade, you've got orb changing units. There's a lot to learn and take from this team, to experience with this team, and I just think overall it's pretty good stuff, personally speaking. That being said, obviously, it can still be quite tough. It can be quite challenging to run this team in high level content. It's not a walk in the park. Like I said, you're going to need to use items. but they are there. They are at that level, and I think that's always a good sign. So for me, very, very happy with the Metal Cooler team. I think they're great. I think they do a ton of great stuff, and yeah, overall I'm super duper happy with how well they do. You can see there with no item, take a little bit of damage, sure, but generally speaking, I think it's a really, really top team. So that's going to be it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I just thought it's a great way to show how high they can really go as a team, and they can still go higher. Equipment, link leveling, all of that will really improve them. But that is pretty much going to be it from me. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.